And by now, Jerry and I are not friends anymore. He had been a nervous wreck when we first got there. Now it looked like he was about to implode or have a stroke. And so I'm thinking it's probably not smart for me to cross the border into a country where guns are legal with somebody who looks like he wants to kill me right now. And so I was just frantic, and I felt terrible too. I mean, it was a stupid thing to do, and his beautiful itinerary was all, fouled up now, and he was worried we weren't going to have a hotel room that night, and so on, and so on, and so on, which he expressed to me with a lot of arm signals. Did any of you marry, anybody with like French blood or Latin blood or whatever in them? And they don't just talk with their lips, do they? No, they use their entire face. And then they throw some arm signals in too, just to make sure that you get the point of what they're saying. There's no hotel rooms between here and the coast. So yeah, I got the point, and I had to stand back a little, make sure I didn't get clubbed in the. So anyway, the other wonderful thing is that just as quickly as the fire is burning, it goes out, and they're your friend again. So there's always two sides to every coin. So anyway, I was trying to think of a way to make it up to him, and I thought, oh, maybe if I let him drive the car with Glenda, then he'll be able to listen to some music, and he'll calm down a little bit, and I'll take the truck because it doesn't have a radio, and Jerry really loves music and people and action. Every morning, you know where he has his quiet time? He goes to McDonald's Playland. Where, I lock myself in a little vault, and so he loves to have input and noise and action. So I said, Jerry, how about if you let me drive the truck, and you go in the car with Glenda and the kids, and you can listen to the radio and play some cassettes, and really, he said, and suddenly we're friends again. He gives me a big kiss. He gets in the car, I go in the truck, and away we go. Well, so we head out, and we drive for a while, and everything is absolutely fine. I'm kind of getting used to pulling the trailer and the little stick shift on the truck, and then we head up our first mountain. Now, when Jerry and I planned this itinerary, this trip, of course, we looked at the map, and a map is a very flat surface. And so it never occurred to us that there are good ways to get through the mountains and not so good ways to get through the mountains, because we weren't mountain people. We were prairie dogs. We didn't know anything about mountains. So we didn't exactly pick the best highway to get through the mountains. So I start climbing straight up, and my little truck is going slower and slower and slower. And finally I see Jerry behind me. By now it's gotten dark. He's flashing his lights, pull over. I pull over. He jumps out, runs up, and out come the arm signals all over again, We're not gonna, can you give this thing a little more gas? I'm like, Jerry, I know it has 4 cylinders, but 3 of them must have asthma. I'm doing everything I can. You want me to put my leg out like Fred Flintstone? So anyway, we were both doing lots of arm and leg waving out there on the side of the road and exchanging sweet nothings, as couples are wont to do. And he got back in the car, and I got back in the truck, and I headed back up the hill, and I just couldn't get that thing to go, and he's right on my tail. He's pulling out, he's pulling in, he's pulling out, he's pulling in, he's pulling out, and I'm thinking, if I had a pistol. But anyway, so finally I get to the lip of this hill, and I come over the other side, and I start coming down, and now gravity is my friend. And I begin to pick up speed. And seriously, all I could think of in those first few minutes were like, oh, thank goodness, finally, Jerry will be happy. I can somehow make it up to him and start saying, whoosh, and whoosh, and whoosh. And then I'm starting to feel a little bit nervous about all the whooshing, because I'm going pretty fast. And the trailer behind me, is starting to make me just sort of rock and tip a little bit. And on the one side, I've got the cliff, and on the other side, I've got the chasm, and I'm just kind of scared that I can't, keep her between the ditches, as they used to say in my little hometown after a party on Friday night when you were heading home. We'll go ain't there, keep her between the ditches. And I was just getting a little bit worried about that, and so I thought, well, maybe I better slow down just a bit, because I think I'm making up for the time I lost. And so I tapped on the brakes, and nothing. I thought, oh dear, well, maybe you have to pump the brakes in this situation. And so I started to pump the brakes, and all I felt were just these tiny little grabs. That's it. And then I really started to panic, and I thought, I didn't know what else to do. So I just put both feet on the brakes and locked my knees and grabbed onto that wheel, and I tore down that mountain. I confessed every known sin. Because I knew I was going to be at the Pearlies any moment, and I was going to have to answer for every single one of them, and so I wanted to be sorry before I got there. And so I was absolutely terrified, and truly I did not think I would live to see the bottom of that hill, but somehow, by God's grace, I survived, and I got down to the bottom, and because I was so frozen, I couldn't take my feet off the brake and put the clutch in, and so the old truck, just kind of bucked and coughed and died on the side of the road. And I just sat there, and I thought, at any moment, Jerry is going to rip open the door. He is going to grab me in his arms. Like I said, he is French. He is passionate. He's going to probably kiss me all over my face, and then just call out praises to God for saving the life of his beloved, the woman who gave birth to his children without anesthetic. You think of these things, and you really want them to be aware of the sacrifices that you made on their behalf. And so I'm sitting there, and the music is just starting to swell as I'm envisioning, this wonderful reunion, and I realize that he's not there. And so I roll down the window and I look out. It takes him 5 minutes before he can catch me. Finally, I see the Mazda pull up behind me, and he jumps out and comes running up, and sure enough, I think, okay, I got to squeeze out a couple of tears here, because I want him to know just what a traumatic journey this has been down this hill. And so I'm just sort of getting all worked up, so I go, oh, yes, I survived. So anyway, I'm all ready for it, and he comes running up, and before I can even do anything, he just sticks his head in the window, and he says, "Man, did you make good time coming down that mountain?" And I think, well, we are the Clampetts, and this is Jethro.